Is India's top 4 currently the best top 4 in ODI cricket?
It's been a while since this Indian team has played the ODI format. Now, when you look back on the Indian team in the ODI format, especially the World Cup of 2023 and then the Champions Trophy of 2025, people often forget how strong the top 4 of the Indian batting lineup has been. And that's exactly what we're going to do today and break things down even further and compare them to the world. Before we look at Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer and their numbers and what they've done since 2022, hit that subscribe button and here's a promo from our membership.
What I was specifically brought in to do was ball tracking data. That's why your technical analysis is so good, because I watch your channel for that, and it's always like a learning experience. The rest of it was my own data from various sources which I can't reveal, but I had like multiple databases that I then sort of allied with the ball tracking data.
But the question from there is, how does he start? Like, what is his process like?
That time the focus was on the World Cup, right? September, I wrote code like a dog. I took the Indian bowlers, I took the components of their ball speed, release speed, and I made it interact with the pitch. To keep getting selected. With Harshad, I can tell you,
It is no surprise that India has one of the finest top 4s in world cricket today. If you look at data since 2022, the Indian top 4 has scored more runs than any of the other teams in the ODI format. Not only this, we've also got the most number of centuries, but along with this, we've also hit the most number of sixes. We have the best batting average and the third best batting strike rate. In fact, we're the only team in this period to score over 10,000 runs with just our top 4 batters, and this shows how important these top 4 are for the Indian team. But not only this, even in terms of boundary hitting, these top 4 batters have gone beyond any other team. In fact, India sit at the most number of sixes with 298 sixes hit in this period. The team who are second on the hitting sixes list is Australia with 212, a difference of 86 sixes. And so one by one we'll get into each of these players, of course starting off with the openers Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill. Now, for the sake of outlining how important these batters have been in their particular positions, all of the numbers that we're going to present are from 2022 and for the batters in their respective positions. For example, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, we will only be talking about their opening numbers, whereas for someone like Virat Kohli or Shreyas Iyer, we'll be talking at their numbers at number 3 and number 4 respectively.
Starting from the former ODI captain and someone who won the Champions Trophy for the Indian team, Rohit Sharma has been in prolific form in the last couple of years, especially with the bat. For someone who used to score daddy hundreds in the 2010s, he has transformed his game in the 2020s in such a way where he gets India off to a flying start. In this time period, Rohit Sharma has played 43 matches, scored close to 2,000 runs with an average of 46, which is already impressive, but he takes this a notch further by having a strike rate of 116, the second highest in this period. Not only that, but in all of this period, he's also the third highest run scorer as an opener across the world. Of course, with this, he also has 300s and 1450s, something a lot of people might criticize that his conversion rate is not as good, but this is where he's changed his game in terms of having a good strike rate rather than scoring big hundreds. Now, as an opener, you have two roles. If you're batting first, you have to make sure your team gets off to a good start, and that is exactly what Rohit Sharma is able to do. Because in the first innings, he has an average of just 38, but he strikes at 107. Now, while batting second, it's all the more important as an opener to not only give India a good start, but also be able to score big, especially while chasing a big target. And here, while batting second, Rohit is not only able to score big consistently, but also score big with the highest strike rate. Because he has an average of 52 while batting second with a strike rate of 122. It's almost like an unsaid rule where if Rohit Sharma does well in a match, you more often than not know that India is in a good position to go on to win the match, because it's also reflected in his numbers, because every time India have gone on to win a match, he has an average of 51 and a strike rate of 114, and in this time period 14 of his 50 plus scores have come in a win, which is 82% of his 50 plus scores. Now this is where we take Rohit Sharma's numbers and break things down even further and look at it phase wise in the ODI format. Now in the power play, Rohit Sharma in this time period is the highest run scorer across the world with an average of 61. He also has a strike rate close to 120, which is the second highest in the world. He also has a dot ball percentage of 59%, which is the third lowest, which means if you look at these numbers, you already know that Rohit Sharma is scoring a lot of runs at a very high strike rate and not conceding a lot of dot balls, which means even if he's not able to hit a lot of boundaries, he is able to rotate strike. This is why we look at the second phase of the ODI format, that's between the overs 11 and 40. Something you will realize that Rohit Sharma does have a less average. He has an average of 30 in this phase with a strike rate of close to 110. Now what has changed changed with Rohit Sharma because of the way he bats and because of his attacking play. He hardly gets through the power play for the Indian team. So even if his average is just 30, it's not a lot of times he does bat in this phase of the ODI format.
And from there is where we come to India's second opener in Shubman Gill. No doubt, Shubman Gill, since his debut in the ODI format, has been the most prolific run scorer across the world in this format. Since Jan 2020, he's been the highest run scorer in ODI cricket, and as an opener, he's been the second highest run scorer during this period amongst openers. Now, since Jan of 2022, Shubman Gill has played 49 matches where he's got almost 2,500 runs at the highest average amongst openers of 60.3. Along with this, he's also striking at 99 and he's got 700s and 14 50s. Especially when it comes to giving a good start to the Indian team, there's no one who does it better than Shubman Gill. Because in the first innings, he averages 59 at a strike rate of 107 and he's also got 500s in just first innings. And if you were to be overly critical, in the second innings, you would say that his numbers come down, but they're still extremely good. Because he still averages 50, albeit at a strike rate of 89, but here too, he's got 200s to show. And if you thought that the Indian team would go on to win every time or most times that Rohit Sharma would score a 50 plus score, Shubman Gill takes it a notch further. Because not only does he average 72 in the case when India wins a match, but in this period he's got 19 50 plus scores in victories. That's a whopping 90% of his 50 plus scores coming in causes for India winning the match. Shubman Gill also becomes an extremely able foil and complement to Rohit Sharma's style of play. Because during the power play phase of the game, Shubman Gill is the third highest run scorer as an opener during this period. He averages 91 at a strike rate of 94 and has only been dismissed 12 times in the 49 innings that he's played. This goes to show that Shubman Gill firstly barely gets out in the power play period, and not only that, but he's also scoring a lot of runs and at a good clip. And that is why when we move to the middle overs, we'll see that Shubman Gill's numbers in the middle overs are much better than Rohit Sharma's. Not only does he average 47 in the middle phase of an ODI game, but he also strikes at 100, just taking his game to the next level as soon as he's set. But along with the ability to hit the ball well, Shubman Gill also runs extremely well between the wickets, because his dot ball percentage of 40.8 is the second lowest in the middle overs. Something that we as Indian fans take often for granted is how good our opening partnerships have been. Earlier, when it used to be Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan, we used to take it for granted. But now that it's Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, we often overlook how successful they've been as openers for India. Not only have they been the most successful partnership in terms of number of runs in the ODI format since Jan 2022, but they've also got some excellent figures. They've got 19 50 plus stands, of which 7 have been century stands, and as a partnership, they average 66.3. And as you would have already seen in the first and second innings numbers, they act as great complements to each other's style of play and also the kind of process in which they go about the innings.
And this is why we come to the number 3 and the number 4 batters of the Indian team, and that's Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer. Something to note here is that we will be adding another metric, and that will be batting under pressure, because these two batters will be walking in after a fall of wicket. And even though we could consider a lot of things to define batting under pressure, for the sake of simplicity, we have taken average runs as 30 per dismissal, which basically means if you're walking in at 30 for 1 or anything below, that will be under pressure, or 60 for 2 or anything below will be under pressure. Starting off with Virat Kohli, he's played 45 matches, scored more than 2,000 runs with an average of 52.8, which is the highest amongst number 3 batters around the world, and a strike rate of 94.4, which again is the highest amongst number 3 around the world. He also has 812 50s in this period, and because of all of this, he's the third highest run scorer at the number 3 position across the world. Now, for someone who's known to be a chase master, if you look at his numbers in the first and the second innings, it's quite contrasting and interesting. In the first innings, he has an average of 60 with a strike rate of 104, which is fantastic, but then when you look at his second innings numbers, these numbers drop quite a bit. He has an average of 45 and a strike rate of just 85. An interesting observation is that in this time period, Virat Kohli did struggle performing in the second innings while chasing targets. But his contribution when the Indian team wins is one of the reasons for why he's so important for the Indian team. He averages 64 with a strike rate of 98, and 75% of his 50 plus scores have come when the Indian team have won. He's also a beast when it comes to strike rotation and being able to hit boundaries under pressure, because he has a dot ball percentage of 43%, which is the lowest by a mile, because the second lowest is 49%. And it comes with no surprise that in the middle phase of the ODI format, between the overs 11 and 40, he's simply fantastic. He has an average of 57 and a strike rate of 92, and this strike rate is the second highest in this period, with a dot ball percentage of 40%, which is again the lowest, which goes to show that he's able to rotate strike, hit those boundaries, and make sure that the Indian team is not under pressure by conceding a lot of dot balls. And this is where we come to the pressure situations every time Virat Kohli scored a 50 plus score. Now in the first innings, he scored a 50 plus score on 3 of the occasions he's come under pressure, but more than anything on 5 of the occasions where he scored 50 plus score, he's been the highest run scorer for the Indian team in the first innings. Now when we come to the second innings, there have been 3 occasions where he scored 50 plus batting under pressure, but again, there have been 7 occasions where he scored half century or more, where he's been the highest run scorer. Now this has 2 things. Even though he might not be batting a lot under pressure because of how successful the opening partnership has been, he's able to bat through the innings and almost outscore every other batter around him. And the fact that a lot of batters in this batting lineup are able to bat around him and able to flourish because you have an anchor with Virat Kohli.
And here's where we look at India's current vice captain Shreyas Iyer. Over the last couple of seasons, Shreyas Iyer has proved to be one of the most reliable middle order batsmen that India has ever produced in the ODI format. Not only has he consistently scored runs, but he's also done this at a really good clip and come clutch in a lot of different situations. If you compare Shreyas Iyer to the rest of the number 4s in the world, you'll see why he's rated so highly. In 31 matches, he's got close to 1400 runs. But more importantly, he's done this at the best average and the best strike rate amongst any of the number 4s. Where he averages 56 and strikes at 100, he also has 300s and 850s to go with this. And unlike some of the other batters that we've seen who might have a preference towards the first or the second innings, Shreyas Iyer has been a beast throughout. In the first innings, he averages 57 and strikes at 104 and has got 200s to show for his name. Whereas he almost maintains the similar record when he goes into the second innings, averaging 55 and striking at 95. But what you can be sure of is every time Shreyas Iyer scores 50 plus, India is going to win the match, because that is what his record is in wins. 100% of his 50 plus scores have come in the situation where India have gone on to win the game, and he averages 63 and strikes at 100.7 in these situations. He also has the lowest dot ball percentage amongst all of the number 4s in world cricket, with a dot ball percent of just 44.6. And this is also evident in the fact that when he's out there, he's making sure that he's running between the wickets extremely hard and is able to put regular boundaries away. And for Shreyas, we looked at 2 phases. Of course, we looked at the overs of 11 to 40, but we also looked at the death overs in 41 to 50. Now Shreyas here too shines amongst all of the number 4s because he has the second best average as well as the strike rate in the middle overs. Averaging almost 60 and striking at 93, Shreyas Iyer has incredible numbers in the middle overs. But if you have Shreyas batting to the death overs, then it's absolute carnage, because he has the best average in this period of 60.6 and the third best strike rate at 166. And not only is he someone who's going to only hit boundaries in this death over phase, because he has the lowest dot ball percentage at 17.4. And almost following Virat Kohli's footsteps, Shreyas Iyer is also someone who, when he comes into an innings, looks to capitalize, looks to play long and get a lot of runs for the team. Now whenever he scored 50 plus, there are 4 occasions where he's walked in under pressure and been able to score that 50 plus. But along with that, 4 times he's also been the highest scorer when he's got a score of 50 plus, and 6 times he's been the second highest scorer in such situations. And now looking at India's number 3 and number 4 together as a partnership, Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer have both done extremely well. In terms of the number of runs they've scored as a partnership, has been the 8th highest in the world for this period. In 21 matches where they've batted together, they've scored 1000 plus runs with an average of 50 plus, and they've also got 400 plus stands.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. Now a lot of you guys will look at these numbers and then talk about if these players can replicate these numbers in the knockout stages of a World Cup or a Champions Trophy game, and that's exactly what we've looked at since 2022. Now if you look at these numbers, it paints a very interesting picture. Both Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill have averages in the 40s, and both have scored a half century each out of the 4 games that they've played in the knockouts. Virat Kohli, on the other hand, is the only player amongst the 4 players to have both 100 and 50. He has an average of 64 across these 4 games. And Shreyas Iyer, on the other hand, has an average of 50, also has 100 across the 4 knockout games that he has played. And it also makes sense if you look at the batting order, because if you look at the openers, they give you a good start. Virat Kohli anchors the innings throughout, and the number 4 hopefully finishes off the game then. And this is why we want to address the criticism that Shubman Gill gets that he's not able to score under pressure, especially in the knockout stages. The fact that his numbers are not so quite different to Rohit Sharma, his opening partner, and the fact that he's just 25 years of age and that he has so many more years and World Cups to play, just nitpicking on this stat for someone so young doesn't make sense at all.
And so this has been a video on India's top 4 and why they are so extremely good when it comes to the ODI format. Each of them is a match winner in their own capacity, and they synergize extremely well with each other's batting styles. For India to do well in any kind of tournaments, it is these 4 who are going to be doing the bulk of the batting for the Indian team and ensuring that they get off the good starts in the case of the first innings as well as the second innings. Leave your comments down below on what you think about these 4 batters and why they're important for India heading into future ODI series, and also hit the like button if you've liked this video, share it with your friends. Most importantly, subscribe to our channel and also join our membership for more such breakdowns and even more in-depth analysis. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.